be very much annoyed if he knew you were staying on till next week at the same hour.
Oh, I don't care about Jack. I don't care for anyone in the whole world but you. I love you, Cicely. Marry me, won't you?
Silly boy, of course. Why, we have already been engaged for 3 months.
For the last 3 months?
Yes, it will be exactly 3 months on Thursday.
But how did we become engaged?
Well, ever since dear Uncle Jack first confessed to us that he had a younger brother who was so wicked and bad, you, of course, have formed the chief topic of conversation among myself and Miss Prism. And, of course, a man who is much talked about is always very attractive. I dare say it was foolish of me, but I fell in love with you, Ernest.
Darling, but when was the engagement actually settled?
On the 14th of February last, worn out by your complete ignorance of my existence, I decided to end the matter once and for all. And after a long struggle with myself, I accepted you under this dear old tree. The next day I went out and bought this little ring in your name, with the true lover's knot that I promised you always to wear.
It's very pretty, isn't it? Did I get you this?
Yes, you've always had impeccable taste. It is the excuse I've always used for you leading such a bad life. And here is a box of your dear old letters that I have kept.
My letters! But my sweet child, I have never written you any letters.
You need hardly remind me of that, Ernest. I only remember all too well that I was forced to write your letters for you.
Oh, do let me read them, Cicely.
I couldn't. It would make you far too conceited. The 3 that you had written me after I broke off our engagement were so beautiful and so badly spelled that I could hardly read them without crying a little.
You broke off our engagement?
Of course, on the 22nd of last March. You can see the entry if you'd like. Today I broke off my engagement with Ernest. I felt it better to do so. The weather still continues charming.
But why on earth did you break it off? What had I done? I had done nothing at all. Cicely, I am very much hurt indeed to hear that you broke it off, especially when the weather was so charming.
Well, it would have hardly been a really serious engagement if it hadn't been broken off at least once. Besides, I forgave you before the week was out.
What a perfect angel you are, Cicely.
You dear romantic boy. I do hope your hair curls naturally, does it?
Yes, darling, with a little help from others.
I am so glad.
You'll never break off our engagement again?
Well, I don't think I could break it off now that I've actually met you. Besides, there is the question of your name.
Yes, of course.
Well, darling, don't laugh at me, but it has always been a girlish dream of mine to love a man named Ernest. Something about that name inspires absolute confidence. I pity any poor married woman whose husband is not called Ernest.
But, my sweet child, do you mean to say you couldn't love me if I had some other name?
But what name?
Oh, any name you like. Algernon, for instance.
But I don't like the name. Algernon?
My dear, sweet, loving little darling, I really can't see any reason why you should object to the name of Algernon. It is not at all a bad name. In fact, it's a rather aristocratic name. Half the chaps who get into the bankruptcy court are called Algernon. But seriously, Cicely, if my name was Algie, couldn't you love me?
I might respect you, Ernest. I might admire your character, but I fear I would not be able to give you my undivided attention. Sorry.